Hello, welcome to From Caracas. I'm Laura Prada, and in this opportunity we'll be talking with Roman Kononenko, who is Secretary of the Leninist Communist Youth Union of the Russian Federation, who is in Venezuela participating at a meeting of the General Secretariat of the World Federation of Democratic Youth. Welcome, Roman.
Yeah, big pleasure.
Just to start forward, tell us, what is the World Federation of Democratic Youth?
WFDY, which is the abbreviation, the acronym that we use, World Federation of Democratic Youth, is an organization which unites many organizations from all of the continents, youth organizations of communist, leftist, socialist, anti-imperialist youth. So we represent many countries. We like all colors of skin, but at the same time we share the same thoughts, share the same ideas. We are opposing the imperialism, we are fighting against fascism, and we are supporting and fighting for the rights of the young people.
Under which purpose, under which motivation this organization came up?
It was founded in 1945, well, after the victory against fascism, and it was the will and the wish of the youth who knew what fascism was, and the youth wanted to prevent this from happening again. So that is how the World Federation of Democratic Youth was founded, and youth from different countries, they came together. I think it was in London, the Congress, the Assembly, which founded the organization. They gathered together to fight for this right cause.
Today in the world, we are seeing that young people, the so-called millennials, they are not that involved in political life. Why are organizations like this one important, and to involve, to create an environment that facilitates that these young generations participate actively in political life?
Well, you know, WFDY is a federation. It is an organization which gives us a space for discussing different methods of common struggle, methods of cooperation, methods of solidarity actions. So, but each of our member organizations, each of the member organizations of WFDY, we always talk to the youth because we are young. We are talking to the youth. We start talking to the young people who have never been involved in politics. We are trying to increase the participation of young people in the solving of problems of societies of their own countries, by starting to attract them by different ways, like with cultural activities, with non-political, but when they come, they are getting more and more involved, like gradually. So this is the task that each of our member organizations of WFDY is solving.
In this meeting here in Venezuela, the WFDY meeting, why do it in Venezuela, the meeting, and what expectations you had before coming, and what you've seen when you arrived?
Okay, this meeting, it is hosted by two member organizations of WFDY. There are two member organizations of WFDY here in Venezuela. It is the Communist Youth of Venezuela and Youth of Vesuv. These two organizations invited, they proposed to host this meeting here in Caracas, and we understand why they invited us, because they wanted us to come here to see with our own eyes what is happening here, to see the problems that the country, the people of Venezuela are suffering because of imperialist aggression, which is open. And so we came here, and then when we come back, we'll tell in our motherlands, we'll tell our people the truth. This is, I think, the main task why we came here, and to have this WFDY meeting here, exactly.
But you also have, the Federation have thrown an international solidarity campaign with Venezuela. Taking into consideration the aggressions Venezuela is suffering right now, how is the youth called, or which is the mission of the youth in this kind of a scenario?
Okay, the youth must be one of the most active parts of the society, and okay, young people, they always want more than those who are elderly. So what we are trying to do is to explain, for example, to the youth of our countries, the real situation of Venezuela, okay, the real disposition here in Latin America, into Americas, and why this is happening, and why and who is guilty of all of what is going on here.
For decades, United States have tried to manage everything that moves on or in Latin America and the Caribbean. Why do you think that this new aggression towards Venezuela is also an aggression to the progressive movements, not only in Latin America but in the world?
Well, it is definitely an aggression, and it is definitely okay, a threat, an attack to the sovereignty of the country. Okay, and what the United States is doing is a dangerous precedent. When some country wants to decide how another country should be ruled, who would be a president, who would be in the parliament, and it's a very dangerous situation. And if we do not resist what the United States is doing here, it may come to our homes, to our homelands. So this is our common task, to build a common front to oppose, to confront what the imperialists, this imperialist country, leader of the imperialist world, is doing here.
Roman, which is the role of the left-wing youth in the world when eminently capitalist countries, powers and pirates against development countries or countries that seek sovereignty, independence and freedom fight against any imperialism? Are those countries trying to seek to consolidate an alternative and politically and economically speaking from the capitalist system?
Well, we as the left youth, we are always there when the people are suffering from aggression of imperialist and capitalist world, and we are 100% sure that any nation can decide and can choose its own way of development. If a country decides to build socialism, if a country decides that the highest values are just social protection of ordinary people, the country has this right to fulfill what it decided, what it planned. And we, as the left youth, we are always with those who want to protect their own way of direction, their own way of development. And this is what we do, and we will always organize solidarity actions, solidarity campaigns, and this is our main task, and this is our devotion.
Why is the world still today so afraid of a country, of a person, of anything who proclaims themselves as socialist or communist?
I think it is a result of many years of defamation, many years of lies and propaganda, and they just tried for many decades. They tried to make a picture of a capitalist, of a communist threat, like Russian threat, communist threat, socialist threat, and what is happening, for example, in many countries of Europe. They are trying to even equalize communism and fascism, and which is, of course, not true. It doesn't have anything in common. But the propaganda is doing this. They are spending big money to to tell lies about socialist ideas, about socialism itself, and saying that only capitalism, free market competition is what the humanity, it's like it is as if it was the best invention of the humanity.
Before you were talking about the meetings, the ones who were sponsoring the meeting here in Caracas, the World Federation of Democratic Youth. In that agenda, is there a space to share ideas, thoughts, to share experiences with the social movements in Venezuela and the PSUV youth of the Communist Party of Venezuela?
Well, of course, within the framework of our General Council meeting, we have had many discussions about the situation here, and we even adopted a political resolution of the General Council. It was adopted yesterday, and a very big part, like maybe 35% of it, is dedicated to Venezuela. And so we discussed the current agenda here very thoroughly. And in the following days, we'll also have a solidarity mission, which is organized here by WFDY together with the World Peace Council. So we are two big organizations here who have come from all countries of the world to discuss it more, to share it with the youth of Venezuela, with the youth of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela and the youth of the Communist Party. So I think we have to learn more when we talk like to each other, when we not to read news, but here it is the unique opportunity to just talk to people, to listen, to know their personal experience and their personal evaluation of what is going on.
But now I want to ask you, I want to pause a little bit about Venezuela now, but I want to ask you about your experience, your work in Russia. Could you please share with us, with our audience, a little bit about the work you do in Russia with your with the Leninist Communist Youth Union?
Well, we are the youth of the Communist Party of the Russian Federation, and it is the second biggest party in Russia. We are a big organization which is represented in all corners of our country, which is quite big. And you know, sometimes it takes 10 hours by plane to travel from one part of Russia to another. So, but we are represented everywhere, and our main tasks are the protection of the interests, of the rights of the youth. So we are providing any types of assistance that young people may need. So we are organizing cultural events, we are organizing music contests, competitions for children from very distant rural areas who, with the help of our organization, who receive opportunity to travel, for example, to Moscow, which would maybe they would not even get this opportunity in their whole life because it is too far, and there's no need to travel to Moscow. But we're having many cultural sports events, and of course we also have our political agenda, which is also important for us. We believe that the social protection and this protection of the social rights of our Russian youth is vitally important. So this is what we are doing in our country.
And how is seen the work in Russia, the work you do? How is perceived?
Oh, I think that we receive gratefulness and thankfulness from the people. And recently, for example, we celebrated 100 years since the foundation of our organization, 100 years of Komsomol. This is how we call it in Russian. and the celebrations were extremely vast throughout the whole country, and okay, also the government had its own celebration, and we also cooperated, and okay, hundreds of thousands of people participated in these celebrations. So everybody knows what Komsomol is, and many people, those who are old, who are grown-ups, they used to be members of Komsomol of the Soviet period. So our organization is quite, well known throughout the whole country.
Now I come back to Venezuela. It's world known that and also manipulated by the media what's going on in Venezuela. What have you seen here in Venezuela?
Okay, it is my second time here. The previous time was, I think, 2016. Okay, I do not see any. Okay, I don't see much changes. Okay, the people are living their lives. We know about the hardships. We know how the imperialists are trying to suffocate the country, but still the people are living their lives. I can say that the roads here in Venezuela are better than in Russia, and it is 100% true. Even though the country is suffering from aggression, like the streets are clean, and I didn't have many opportunities to travel through Caracas during this visit because we were busy having sessions and discussions. But from what I saw, the life is going on, and the people live despite all the difficulties. And we can see that the government is doing its best to help the people. That's it.
Then, as a member of this important youth organization, would you give us an analysis of the geopolitical context of Venezuela, a country, like you just said, is resistant the threats, the attacks of an imperialist nation like United States?
Well, okay, geopolitically, Venezuela's position and geographical location is very important. This is why imperialists of all kinds are trying to get control of the country, trying to impose their own influence here, because well, not only geographical but resources and everything, which Venezuela has, is like tasty cake for them, and they can never afford to miss this opportunity. So they are doing their best. The front of imperialists is quite united, because they are ready to do whatever, because they see the profits. If they see the profits, they can do anything.
So, just to end, which is your message to the youth in Venezuela and the world to understand what is happening here and how to tell it to the world?
Okay, my message to the youth of Venezuela is simple. You just need to do your best to defend the achievements of the socialism, achievements of Bolivarian process that you have here. Because, well, what you have now, you think you take it as granted, as it is. But if you lose it, you will see the difference. This is what happened, for example, in Russia, when when the Soviet Union was destroyed. And only when it was destroyed, we could understand what it was under socialism and how capitalism works now. So my main message is, please fight, please defend your country, defend your sovereignty, and defend what the Bolivarian revolution gave to you.
Thank you very much, Roman,
yeah, you're welcome.
for speaking with
Yeah,
us.
you're welcome.
Like this week, arrived to the end of this show, this from Caracas, when we spoke with Roman Kononenko, who is Secretary of the Leninist Communist Youth or Union from the Russian Federation. And we were speaking about him, about the General Council meeting of the World Federation of Democratic Youth that's been taking place in Caracas in the last few days. Thank you very much again, Roman,
Thank
for
you.
talking with us, for giving us some of your time.
Yeah, it was a big pleasure.